never.
Of the FCT Emergency Management Agency, Abbas Idris, said the area was declared a disaster zone due to persistent flooding in the estate, putting lives and properties at risk. We're talking about 2,000 houses in this estate are set to be demolished by the FCDA. The demolition will displace about 40,000 people. Now, the president of the Trademore Residents Association, Adewale Adewale Adenaike, opposed the illegal status placed on the estate by the FCDA and suggested alternative solutions be explored. There are so many questions on the minds of Nigerians, and we are privileged today to have this conversation with someone who has privy information. The chairman, Trademore Residents Association Phase 1, Mr. Tunde Sholadoye. Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. We have had, there are so many stories being circulated at the moment. It will be very it will be I think right for us to ask you, who is very close to what is going on right now. What is the current situation of things?
It's okay. Let me give you just a brief of the whole story.
Yes, sir.
Trademore was established in 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Majority of the occupants bought in, not that we built those property by ourselves. It was already made houses that we buy from. So there is this perennial flash flood. I think once in a year. I think for the last 3 years we have 3 incidences.
Okay.
May, June, July, just like that annually. I think this last one happened 23rd of June, in the early hours of that Friday morning. And we observed that there are just a flash drips of rain, like 2-3 hours. So at the end of the day, around year 11 or so, after the rain has subsided, just discovered that the whole place is filled up of water. There are water channels, but the water channel was overflowing. So definitely this water is coming from where? It's coming from either Lokogoma, Tiakata, and Galadimawa. So it's not the issue of terming Trademore as a disaster. No, Trademore can never be a disaster zone. The real disaster zone is before Trademore and after Trademore. They are external infrastructural failure by the government.
Okay, now a lot of people have several questions. I had some people ask questions. We've heard them describe this place as an illegal settlement, and this isn't sitting well with several people, especially residents of Trademore. How are you handling that information?
If you listen carefully to my introduction,
yes, sir.
I said this was a completed estate that we just came and buy from them as a conception. So what I'm saying, the issue of illegal or not illegal, I wouldn't be the spokesman for the developer. But what me am 100% sure of, if there are no certification as they claim, if there are no title as FCDA is claiming, why then 95% of the occupants are on mortgage? Why is it that we pay tenement rate? Why is it that we pay development levy? Why is it that INEC conducted election in Trademore for the past 15 years? We have 3 polling units to show how massive is Trademore. So except them, it's them and the developer you ask what is legal and what is illegal. But for us, we know we are legal because we are having letters of allocation and resident titles.
So has demolition started? As at this morning, I heard someone say the machinery were on ground, but demolition had not started. Is this true?
No, it is not.
Okay. What are the current situation of things?
Yes. If you listen to the last interview by Engineer Galadima, I think in early hours of yesterday, he said that there are rooms for consultation and dialogue. We are ready. We even prefer independently, we engage experts that we need the remote and immediate cause of this flooding. They've provided solutions. So why is it that FCDA is not showing the part of the solution is destruction we want?
So is that to say that... Okay, go ahead.
It is only in our own side, we in Nigeria, that I know the government is driving away residents away from water, not water away from residents. Eco Atlantic is 100,000 square miles of sea that was filled for businesses and homes. Why is it that just because of flash flood? Why is it that they are not giving engineering solution?
Okay, so is that to say...
Those are my concerns.
Your concerns have been noted. I'm going to go back to that. But is that to say that there was no appropriate communication between the FCDA and the residents of Trademore? Were you informed about the demolitions and all of this, or did you just see, equipment to bulldoze?
The issue of demolition not just start yesterday or last week. They came to the estate in 2022 and marked certain houses that those houses are on floodplains. We said, okay, no resistance. They came in with their bulldozers and co, and they brought down 54 houses.
But that's to say that this is not the first time something like this is happening.
Yes, I told you now. You listen to my intro. I told you that it happened in 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Yes, sir.
So they came back and removed some houses, I think 54 houses in 2022. And when they are demolition, we told them this will even aggravate the flood because you are not treating the remote cause. You are expanding, you are giving water more channels to do havoc. Because this water comes all the way from Galadima and Lokogoma and it passes through. Trademore is just a transit fair. So it's just passing through Trademore. We know there are 2 obstacles in Trademore. Which one is there was a major construction of road in 2019-2020 by Ecological Fund. They came to do drain and road. Some of these drain they did was substandard, was not a proper water channel. And I doubt if they do a proper feasibility study to foresee in the future that more water flow will come into this. So the water is not having access to it will come into Trademore. It's not having access to discharge away from Trademore. So those are the peculiarities. It is not destruction or bringing down houses that will solve those water channel or those attributes that water will be having easy access to flow away. The disaster zone disaster zones that we expect development control to come is after Trademore. The sequence structures, how houses was built on floodplain areas, They should come and do it. I will even employ you to come and do investigative journalism. You don't need to talk to me. You don't need to ask for who I am. Come independently and verify. It is there for everybody to see.
Very interesting submission. Now, we have reports that about 40,000 people, that's roughly about 2,000 houses, are going to be demolished.
It's about 3,000 housing units. It's 2,800 and something.
Okay, so that's over 2,000.
Yes, about 2,000. 2008.
Now, these houses that are going to be demolished, is there any contingency plan? Is there compensation for these people?
No. You know, the way you had it through press, same goes to us. You just had the press release on Friday. That's why we said there was going to be a sit-at-home to resist it. So they should be talking about solution. Even if they are saying they are rehabilitating us, fine. But there's also be a soft support for us first before bringing houses down. There is nothing like that. There is no palliative, nothing. See, there was a scenario last year happened last year when they came with their equipment to bring houses down. A family of 6 left the house in the morning for his official work and the children for school. They came back discovering that their houses are gone. The property are gone. Their official document and co is under the rubble. Look at that trauma to a 10, 15, 8 years old child. You know, the trauma that will live with him or her for life.
I was going to ask the effect it is having on your people at the moment, what the mood is like in Trademore Estates right now while these demolitions are going on.
We are cool, calm, ready to dialogue, ready to do further consultation, ready to listen to any preferred engineering solutions.
Well, now, what you're saying is, at the moment, there is no form of communication between the FCDA and the residents of Trademore. They're just going ahead to do what they're doing. Or are you having meetings and talks and negotiations?
Well, there is a window of opportunity for that between today and tomorrow, that we are independently trying to meet the PAMSEC and to meet the Director of Development Control, so that we will sit again the same way we sit last year and prefer solutions together.
If you had these conversations, if you had this sit down last year, did it bring any form of progress after you had the because last year you were in the meetings?
Yes.
Last year houses were demolished, according to what you're telling me. Some houses were demolished. Last year you still had meetings. After that, what did it birth?
Good. You know, I'm having a copy of the minutes we have with the ES and the Minister for State. I'm having a copy, the hard copy of the minutes. That's okay. Some houses, you have to allow some houses to go for the expansion of the dream. Fine. The developer did that, which is one. The second is, they told us at that meeting that they are going to be a double channelization and diversion of this water. One, that there is this bridge they call Dantata Bridge immediately after the Ladimawa. And this is one of the major source of this water. That the water will be diverted. Then the second diversion will be directly opposite River Park Estate. Because if on the express, on the major express, Shehu Yaradua Express, there are 2 small cells for a volume of water that is like 53 meters high, some 30 feet high, some 50 meters high, some 30 meters high. Even this last incident covered Shehu Yaradua Way immediately after police bus stop. That vehicle was unable to pass for 15 minutes. So they told us then that 2022 budget is almost gone. That in 2023 there will be a provision. They told us it's massive engineering. It's not what they can rush. They will plan and they will provide money for it. That was what was in the communique then. But on the part of the government, None of this has been exploited.
Have the residents of Trademore tried after last year, after that meeting was had, after those houses were demolished, and you saw that work is not being done past the demolition? Was there any follow-up process to ensure? I mean, someone would say you're the one living in the estate, you're the one at risk, you are the one at direct risk of having your properties being destroyed and possibly even your lives if this flood happens again. Was there anything done to follow up and be like, okay, this is the agreement we had, but we're not seeing you finish up?
That is one. We wait for budget before implementation. Secondly, I personally, Tunde Solado, take this issue to National Assembly last year, precisely 6th of November. There was an ad hoc committee instituted by the Night Assembly to see into this case. But unfortunately, November, December 2020, 2023, it was an electionary year. So that people got busy and there was no major follow-up. Because the ad hoc committee institute and that subcommittee led by Barrister Ben.
Go ahead, sir. We're with you.
Due to the election period, I think the thing was abandoned. And I doubt if Engineer Ben will return to the National Assembly. So the thing is still pending. One is with the FCDA, the other one is with the National Assembly.
So now, what would you prefer? Because we have like 4 minutes to wrap up this conversation. Very interesting one, by the way. Thank you. You're doing justice to the subject. What would you say that, in your thinking, as someone who lives there, as a first, you're at the forefront of this situation, what would you say is the exact problem? How would you say, this is how we get out of this problem, so that, people are not being displaced and, hardship is not being increased? Because, I mean, right now, an average Nigerian is going through a lot of hardship. Then you now come and add the fact that, your house is being demolished, you're being thrown out on the streets. What would you say what would you say, okay, this is our exact problem? Not just names, not name calling now. This is the real problem. And this is how I think we can get out of it.
Yes, you see, when you asked me the other time, I refused to respond to the issue of approval. I said, please kindly meet the developer.
Yes.
But when we are talking about solution, the solution is of two edges. There are internal solutions and there are external solutions. Both must be taken together. The internal problem is that some of these drainage are very small, which need to be expanded. Then the external issue, which is major and which is the responsibility of government, is the rechannelization and diversion of this flood. We've lived in this estate for more than 15 years. So it is engineering solution. I'm not an engineer. Because if I said, okay, this is sacrosanct, you may meet a professional that will say, no, it is not this. But we've engaged professionals on behalf of the government, which we paid. We've done hydrological survey, geophysics, and we will cost the construction estimate. We've done that, presented it to the government. Because we are saying, okay, let's do palliative. How palliative will solve the issue of flood? Palliative can't solve it. It's massive engineering. And they know, I'm telling you, they know what to do. The cheapest form of tackling this issue is bringing houses down, which we will resist. But the best solution is engineering solution. The two, either internal and external. They know. If they provide a diversion in Galadimawa and open Shehu Yaradua road to like 7 or 8 more first instead of 2 there, the water will have easy access to go. And the ecological road, it needs to be expanded. The culverts are too small. Those are external. You know, nobody's talking about the external. Everybody's talking about trademark. It's just like, let me give you a layman example. You have a bucket of water, maybe 50 liters, and you have a bottle of Coke. You keep the bottle of Coke on the ground and you are using the bucket to fill the bottle. You will fill it, but it will take time. But instead, the easier way is for you to drop the bucket and carry the bottle deep into the bucket. In few seconds, it will be filled without wasting water.
Mm.
So it means they need their engineers, their government pays heavily with our own money, our own taxes. So they need to provide engineering solution. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
If you are in Abuja 6-7 years ago, there is a place they call Lugbe. Estates are underside. They do have this issue of torrential rain and flooding. But this water was diverted. Where did they divert those water to Trinidad? Even they lost one of their director to this flood in Galadimawa 2 years ago. A sitting director died in Galadimawa. But they've never declared Galadimawa a disaster zone. So they know what they are doing. If they are having issues with the developer, that should be stepped aside and they should address it differently. Okay. The issue we think we are having is for them to provide engineering solution. We've done. If they need assistance, we support them.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for having this conversation with us. Thank you for your time. And we do hope we would definitely keep in touch and follow up with, you said you have meetings moving forward. We'll try to follow up and see if there's anything on our end as the media that we can do to make sure that the right thing is being done. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
We appreciate you. Yes, sir. Okay, now we've had a conversation with Mr. Tunde Shola-Doye, the Chairman Trademore Residents Association, Phase 1. The initiation of the demolition of Trademore Estate in Lugbe by the FCDA represents a significant moment in urban development. Now, as we reflect on the reasons behind this decision and the impact on the affected residents, especially with the hardship Nigerians are currently undergoing, it is essential to acknowledge the complexities involved in striking a balance between progress and community preservation. Moving forward, it is very crucial for stakeholders to engage in dialogue, considering alternative solutions and mitigation methods and measures to address the concerns of those affected. We hope that we learn from this experience. And we all hope that we can work towards urban development that is inclusive, fair, and respectful to the rights of every single Nigerian. Like I always say, if it affects one Nigerian, it affects all Nigerians. I'm Chinwe Blessing. This was a very beautiful episode of World Rounds. Matters continues with Formula U. Stay with us.